If you're in the financial red zone, that's 5 to 10 years from retirement. It's more important than ever to make sure you have a plan in place. On today's show, we're going to go over some tips and tricks to shore up, well, the best plan for you in order to get across that goal line, score touchdowns, and win the game called your retirement. We're going to talk about all that today and more on today's show.
And now, the Wealth Training Academy.
You can have wonderful documents, but if they don't work for the assets you have and the income stream that you need, it's a waste of your time and it's a waste of your money.
Asset protection, tax reduction, holistic planning.
You got to make sure that the team's working together, because if the team's not working together, somebody's going to screw up.
Retirement doesn't have to be complicated.
There's so many people selling product. Don't buy product until you have a plan.
And now, the Wealth Training Academy with Ed Storer.
Shielding, protecting, growing your business and your wealth. Welcome. Once again, it's the Wealth Training Academy with wealth coach Ed Storer, consumer advocate Dave Perkins here. Ed and his team, and a great fiduciary team they are, with expertise, well, all in their own areas, and they all get behind your retirement, or certainly can. That's taxes, investments, insurance, estate planning, and they're the assistant coaches. Ed's the coach. I guess you're head coach out on the field, as Ed likes to say. If you look at the game of retirement, you're the owner and you're up in the nice heated or cooled press box or VIP box. But Ed, you're on the team and we're in the red zone. We're near retirement, 5 to 10 years away.
5 to 10 years, you got to make sure you're doing it right. If not, there is no mulligans in this game.
No, unfortunately, really isn't. You got to do it right, and hopefully it's a one time. So we're looking at what should you be doing in the financial red zone as you get closer to retirement to bring to Ed and his team even more to work with. Certainly fund that 401k to the max.
Oh, funding the 401k is like blocking and tackling. It's a necessary thing you must do in the game. And here's the crazy thing. I've been doing this now 32 years, and I'm still shocked and amazed that you're not funding your 401k to the max. It is money that is being put away pre-tax, or if you're doing the Roth portion of it after tax, and that money grows tax-free. But it's the money that you're going to be putting away for the future. And let's go this and let's do it this way. Sit down, have a conversation with the future self. And your future self is saying to you, I wish you had put away more money, because now we're having to eat dog food and cat food and tuna fish, which is just as bad as cat food. And
sometimes
I know, right? There's a reason why it's called chicken of the sea. But, not maxing out that 401k is just crazy. So take advantage of that, especially if you're above your 50s, okay? Because in the year 2023, you can put $22,500, and if you're over 50, you can do a catch-up of $7,500. That's money that you're going to be putting away, and that's just compounding. There is something called compounding interest. And every time that we put money into the 401k, regardless of the market's going down, or the market's going up, you're doing something called dollar cost averaging. And that dollar cost averaging is going to maximize wealth. So I'm telling you, your future self is going to say, thank you very much for putting money away. Or your future self is going to say, how come we're eating tuna fish?
Right. You don't want
so
to.
Instead of a whole tuna, you're eating the tuna fish. So again, take advantage of putting that in there. Odds are you're probably getting a match also from your employer. So that's just free money. So let's take advantage of that and get opportunity to do that. The other thing with inside the 401k that you need to rethink and reconsider is this old conventional financial wisdom, as they call it, that you need to be more conservative as you get older. Here's the interesting thing. Being more conservative as you get older doesn't necessarily mean you need to be putting your money into bonds. Okay, because that just doesn't make sense when you're in an interest rate environment the way we are today. See, every time interest rates go up, the value of bonds drop. It works like a teeter-totter. So if you put money into bonds with inside your 401k, you're putting it with inside mutual funds. And mutual funds have no guarantee of principal. Now, if you could get your dollars into an IRA and buy individual bonds, that's something entirely different. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about your 401k. And 401ks do not let you buy individual bonds. They have to buy bond mutual funds, and there's no guarantee. So you're actually increasing the risk of putting your money into bonds right now in a rising interest rate environment. It'd be better off for you to put your money into a conservative equity portfolio, or even within the treasury strips with inside your 401k. And yes, they're there. You just have to know how to look for them. And then that can be more conservative. Look, it all comes down to what we keep talking about is planning. Okay. You got to plan for the future. The reason why we call it the financial red zone is because you're that 5 to 10 years. And those 5 to 10 years can make a huge, huge difference. Games are won at the goal line. You know, you're sitting here, it's 4th and goal, and you're the quarterback. What do you need to be doing? Well, you need to be reading, going back and studying that playbook. And that playbook says to go over a gap analysis, because you need to know where your holes are in your line of defense. And once you know where your holes are in your line of defense, you can do something about it. So that's our gap analysis. So if you have $500,000 put to the side for retirement, we're not talking $500,000 in real estate. We're talking $500,000 in your IRA or 401k that you've designed for retirement. We will do our gap analysis for free. Our gap analysis consists of doing a tax evaluation. We will look at all of your taxes, every angle, every opportunity. There's 77 some odd thousand pages of tax code. Odds are there's more opportunities in there for you for reducing your taxes than is from stopping you from or making you pay more taxes. So we'll look at your taxes. We'll evaluate your hidden costs and fees with inside all of your investments. We'll look at all your insurance. We'll take a look at your medical, your life insurance. We'll look at all of it and see if you're paying too much in hidden commissions and fees. And we'll evaluate your estate planning. We'll make sure the wills and power of attorneys are up to date, that you have wills in place, and that you have a trust in place. That's our gap analysis. Again, we'll do that for free if you're one of the 10 callers, but you got to be one of the 10 callers. My team will stand by. Leave a message. They will get back to you. Unfortunately, we're not able to get the phones immediately sometimes. So leave a message, leave your name and number, and a good time for us to call you back, and we'll get back in touch with you. I promise.
And it's a great opportunity. Be one of the 10 openings this weekend. It's thorough, too. The gap analysis, no cost, no obligation. 800-563-7030. 800-563-7030. So, like, for instance, with the IRA and doing everything you can in the financial red zone as we're talking about before you launch retirement, it's a case by case as far as the blend of Roth and traditional, I assume.
Absolutely. The other thing with, taking the idea of the IRA, taking advantage of the IRA is a lot of folks miss the opportunity of the spousal IRA. And here's what I mean by spousal IRA. If one of you all are working, the other spouse can take advantage and put money away also for retirement. So if you're over that age again of 50, 55 years old, you can put that additional $7,000 up to a total of $7,000 into an IRA, even if that person's not working. So missing out on the idea of the spousal IRA contribution, it's just, again, free money that you could be putting away for your future self. Again, we're having that conversation with future self, and future self says, take every freaking advantage and put money away while the stock market's down. And you're going, wait a second. The stock market's crashing and it's always going down. Why would I put money away? Because you got 5 to 10 years before you're retiring. If you're retiring in a year, it's a different conversation. But if you're 5 to 10 and you're still making contributions to 401ks and IRAs, then why wouldn't you want to buy when the market's low? Of course you would. Yeah. Wouldn't you also want to convert your money from a traditional IRA to a Roth IRA while the market's down? Of course you would. Why would you want? Okay, let me ask you a question. You want to eat filet this afternoon or this evening for dinner. And you go, okay, I'm going to go to Publix. And I'm not picking on Publix and I'm not picking on their price. It just happens to be one of the grocery stores around here. And so you see the filet, and I'm making this up. I don't even know what filets cost per pound, but let's just say it's $10 per pound. And right down the road, Ingles has the same exact filet for $8 a pound. Which filet would you buy? Of course, the one that's at Ingles, because it's cheaper. I'm not saying Ingles is cheaper or Publix is cheaper. I'm just using this as an example. I don't want anybody to come back and beat me up saying that grocery store is cheaper than that grocery store. Okay, we're not going to have that conversation. We're using it as an example. So you obviously want the cheaper filet. Well, think about this. Do you want to pay taxes on $100,000 or do you want to pay taxes on $500,000? Odds are you want to pay taxes on $100,000. So why not convert from a traditional IRA to a Roth IRA while the stock market's down? See, just because there's some lemons doesn't mean we can't squeeze it and get a lemonade and make some wonderful drink out of it. Now, the squeeze has to be worth, the juice has to be worth the squeeze. I'm stealing that from someone else. Mm-hmm. And the idea is you need to make sure you run the numbers and look at this, because here's the thing. If you're in the middle of maybe getting your pension, you have to understand the costs associated with your pension. You have to understand how much that's going to be taxable to you. Or maybe you're in the process if you're looking to take your Social Security. You have to understand how that Social Security is going to be calculated with your Medicare expense. Okay, remember, we're talking 5-10 years out from retirement, but you need to run all these numbers. You need to look at, and I'm telling you, if you do not take advantage of converting a portion of your money from a traditional IRA to a Roth IRA while you're still working in your 5 to 10 years away from that, what we call the financial zone, that the goal is I'm ready to go retire, then you're going to miss out. And so take opportunities now, because you cannot forget about taxes. See, everybody's running around for this return of 8 to 10% return in the stock market and so forth, but only to turn around and pay higher fees, higher commissions, and guess what? Taxes. All of a sudden, you're paying 25 and 30% of the return that you just made in taxes. Well, think about this. Convert now while it's down, pay no taxes when it's up. That's the best way to go. And our gap analysis can help you understand this. We can talk you through this. We have a team of experts, not just me. There's teams. We have CPAs, enrolled agents. We have investment professionals. We have insurance professionals, and we have estate planning attorneys. Actually, Ken's joke is he deals in endings, divorce, and estate planning. Need I say more? But you have to take advantage of this, okay? You have to be on the telephone. You have to have $500,000 put away for retirement, and you got to be one of the 10 callers. That's how it works. Give us a call.
And the number to do that is 800-563-7030, 800-563-7030, the gap analysis. What are the gaps standing between you and the goalpost, the touchdown, when you're in the financial red zone? That's what you find out with this. 10 opportunities this week at no cost, no obligation. Again, the number to call, and you can text, by the way, as well, 800-563-7030. If you text, same number, just text hashtag WTA, 800-563-7030. Quick break, Ed. What's coming up next?
Well, it is the end of the year, and this is going to be your last opportunity to adjust anything in your taxes for the year 2022. You don't plan for your taxes in the year 2023. You actually plan for it in the year 2022. You prepare your 2022 in 2023. Yes, it's confusing, but I've put together some things and tips and tricks that you need to do before January 1st of 2023 to take advantage. We'll be talking about those when we come back.
Should I take my Social Security? How much risk can I tolerate? I'm afraid I'm overpaying in taxes. Did I save enough? I can't keep up with all these rules.
There are a lot of components to your retirement, and it certainly can seem overwhelming. It's time to establish a partnership with a professional who can provide you with a written plan, the proper strategies, and then be there with you along the way. That's Ed Storer at the Wealth Training Academy, 800-563-7030, 800-563-7030. We're back. It's the Wealth Training Academy and Wealth Coach Ed Storer talking about retirement here as we do. This firm, though, we want to mention from time to time and remind you, they also provide great coaching for businesses in the area. But there's actually not a lot of difference there if you think about it, because they look at your retirement as a business with the right strategies, and it's a custom approach certainly that they take. Well, Ed, as you mentioned, when you're doing your taxes, you're looking back, you're preparing your taxes, you're looking back to the last year. It's equally important to look ahead too with strategies, and you've put together some really good things to consider before this year is out, and it's getting close. What are some things we need to be looking at before January 1, 2023?
Well, we need to be looking in the couches for extra change.
Right, that always helps.
So, that's always tax-free money in my house.
Yeah.
It's just,
you don't report that yours?
No, I don't. Are you kidding me? If I report that to my wife, I would get in trouble. So it's like it's the only money I get to keep.
The IRS does claim that you really should report profits from any criminal activity. That's true. That's true. I don't know who does.
Yes, let's report the criminal activity that we're doing. Right. I tell you what, some of the government policies we have are criminal. Hey, I didn't say that out loud. Sorry. We need one of those.
Yeah.
Little drill. Right there. So we're talking about taxes.
Yeah.
And these are opportunities that we may have overlooked through the year 2022 that we can take advantage of potentially for the preparing of our taxes. Okay. Because come January 1 of 2023, they may not be available to you. So one of the things that we looked at here is actually called a clean vehicle tax credit. And no, that doesn't mean that you have to go out and wash your car and you get a tax credit for washing your car. It has everything to do with the Inflation Reduction Act passed in August of 2022. And it was basically a way for you to buy what they call a clean vehicle and get up to about $7,500 tax credit. And basically what it is, you get a tax credit for buying an energy efficient vehicle. That's really what it is. Okay. Some vehicles qualify, some vehicles don't. You have to check the requirements. Basically, you get $3,750 for vehicles meeting those criterias. Plus, you get $3,750 for the vehicles meeting battery requirements. So it comes all up to about $7,500. And it's a misleading tax credit. They should call it the energy efficient vehicle tax credit, but no, they called it the clean vehicle tax credit. Makes people think that you have to go out and wash your car and you get tax credit.
Oh, I wouldn't get that credit.
It came from the Department of Energy that provides these titles and everything. But hey, it's a way for if you haven't bought a car yet and you want to buy a car in the next week, go out and get one of those cars and you'll get a big tax credit.
Okay, so something for everyone to consider, but those nearing retirement, what about those?
Yeah, we just talked about that earlier. I was picking on those who aren't maxing out the 401k. Shame on you. You need to be maxing out your 401k. But hey, remember, you can contribute up to $20,500 for the year 2020. And there's a catch-up provision inside that where it allows you to put up about $6,000 per individuals who are over 50 years old. And $6,000 you can contribute. Those over 50 can add an additional $1,000, which make it $7,000 that you can contribute. You can contribute that to a traditional IRA, to spousal IRA, and a Roth IRA. So take advantage of these things. These are opportunities left and right. Now, in a traditional IRA, you may or may not be able to take the tax deduction. Okay. I don't want everybody to think that just because you made a contribution to a traditional IRA that you can get a tax deduction. It depends on your income and whether or not you have a qualified plan that you can contribute at the 401k at your work. That's why I said people should be maxing out their 401k first in order to do that, and then look at the IRA for the contributions. However, if you are making contributions to the 401k and you still have dollars left over, you can still make a contribution to a traditional IRA, but you may not be able to take a tax deduction. But you can then immediately convert to a Roth. Remember, we talked about this, the idea of when to convert to a Roth when the market's down. So take advantage of this. This can be very confusing, and I'm not saying it can't be, but it's opportunities left and right here. And again, we go back to the idea of our gap analysis. We talk people through this all the time because you have to look at a person's taxes. You have to look at your investments and the way you're doing your investing. You have to look at your 401k. You have to look at all the amount that you're making contributions to. And you have to look and see if it makes mathematical sense for you to do this. Some people it does, some people it don't. We have to walk you through that. And again, our gap analysis is for this. Look, we're 5 and 10 guys. We're right here. We're right at the goal line, and we're about to retire. One misstep will stop us from passing that goal line and scoring the touchdown. And our gap analysis can help you figure this out. That's why they're always, you ever look at the quarterback, they're always reading the gaps. They're always looking at the gaps. He moves his players left and right, shoves them over left or right. That's because he's reading the gaps. And that's what we do. We read the gaps in order for you to score more touchdowns and win this game called retirement. But you have to take advantage of it. So you have to have $500,000 put away for retirement, and your retirement and it being your IRAs or your 401ks. And also, you need to be making sure that you're ready to do this. I mean, if you're serious about your wealth, we're here to help, because we have tax team, we have investment team, we have an insurance team, we have a estate planning team. Everybody's working together for your benefit. This is something called a family office. Usually you have to have $20 million to get this kind of service. But what we're saying is, if you have 500,000, we'll sit down and talk to you and show you the gaps that you have so you can be well aware. You may or may not qualify to work here and be one of our clients, and that's okay. But we'll help you on the telephone. We'll answer any questions you have, but you got to be one of the 10 callers. So give us a call now.
And that number is 800-563-7030, 800-563-7030. We're talking about some things to consider in the world of taxes to protect you, better protect you before the year's out. Okay, Ed, we can't forget charities and charitable giving.
No, charities are very, very important. And look, small business owners and our churches and our charities are the backbone of this society, or at least in my opinion, and those that we work well with opinion. Mm-hmm. And not taking advantage of the charitable contributions for the year 2022 is you're going to wish you had. Again, we're having that future conversation with that future self and saying, hey, please take advantage of this. Now, I will say that for the year 2022, you can no longer do the $600 above line contribution. That's gone. The $300 if you're single, that's gone for the year 2022. You should have done it in 2021. If you hadn't, go back, make a modification in your tax return, take advantage of that, even if you are itemizing. But you can still take advantage of making a charitable contribution up to 100% of taxpayers' adjusted gross income for a huge charity. So there's opportunities in something called a charitable lead trust. And that is a big opportunity where if you're selling your company, or if you have a large IRA and you're looking to make a contribution to a charity and take a huge tax deduction this year, that there's great opportunities. Now, I will let you know that if you haven't done that, if you haven't created a charitable lead trust yet for the year 2022, you don't have time for it. It's not going to happen. Mm-hmm. But for the year 2023, it's still available for you. So don't say you don't have the opportunity to do that. However, for charities, you can still, if you haven't taken all of your required minimum distribution yet, you only have a couple of weeks, you better get going on that. You can actually take your required minimum distribution and make a contribution to a qualified charity, take and satisfy the required minimum distribution, but not pay the taxes on the dollars that you've given to charity. It's a way for you to donate to charity, satisfy your required minimum distribution, and not have to pay taxes on it. Either way, you're going to have to take the money out. Odds are you were giving to charity after you paid the taxes. This is a great way for you to do it before you pay the taxes. There's also something called the Donor Advisor Fund, okay? This is an opportunity where you can put money into a large sum amount of money into a special design fund, and again, take advantage of the charitable deduction next year, and then donate those dollars to charities over time. It's a really great fund. There's opportunities with inside that you can really maximize your taxes on that and still give to charities. So it's a great way to maximize charitable giving. It's a great idea to help out charities. It satisfies your required minimum distributions. It reduces your taxes. There's a lot of moving parts in there. And again, you need to make sure that you have your investment person and your tax person working together on that.
And let's see, enough time quickly to get in HSAs, because they're a triple tax benefit.
Oh, my goodness. Health savings accounts are just as... What's the old saying? They're just the monkey's uncle. Mm-hmm. By the way,
the cat's meow.
Cat's meow.
Yeah.
What's all that mean? I never understood those things. However, I understand what HSAs are, the health savings accounts, and let me tell you, they are triple tax free. Where you put money in, you get a tax deduction. If the money grows, tax-free because you get to take it out tax-free as long as you use it for medical expenses. Now, here's the really neat thing. Once you hit age 65, you can no longer contribute to a health savings account because you're now on Medicare. But you can take the dollars out and use it for your Medicare expenses and or your Medicare insurance, and all that money is now tax-free to you. So this is future self having a conversation with today's self saying, please take advantage of something called the health savings account. And you can put like $7,200 away up to $7,300 for married couples. It's an opportunity. It's better than the flexible spending account. There are flexible spending accounts out there, but the health savings accounts are so much better because it's triple tax-free, state, federal, local, plus deduction going in, grows tax-free, comes out tax-free. You can't get any better than that. But you have to know what you're doing. And again, the gap analysis can help you walk through that. Taxes, investments, insurance, estate planning. If you got $500,000 put away, we can help you save and make a tremendous amount of difference for yourself in retirement. Give us a call. We've got 10 spots.
At no cost, no obligation for the gap analysis for you. 800-563-7030. You can call or text that number. 800-563-7030. Ed, what's after the break?
Well, I read an interesting article I want to talk about, and it was about only 38% of Americans actually have had a conversation with their elderly parents about their financial situation in retirement. So being that was a shocking statistic, I really wanted to talk about that on the radio today. And I want to give folks a couple of, conversation starters if you haven't had that conversation with your parents. And we'll talk about that when we come back.
And now a nightmare retirement consultation. Yeah, no pain, no gain, right? No risk, no reward, right? We're going all risk, see? We're going to put everything you got in the market. You're going to love it. Don't walk, run from that office and go to your future retirement partner with your best interest in mind and with a plan that's customized for your risk tolerance and that can help increase your financial confidence in retirement. That's Ed Storr at the Wealth Training Academy. 800-563-7030. 800-563-7030. The conversation continues on the Wealth Training Academy with wealth coach Ed Storr and the fiduciary team at this firm. We meet on the show. We have on the show lending their area of expertise, and that is in the form of taxes, investments, insurance, estate planning. It all comes together for your retirement plan, and it starts with that gap analysis. Ed, the team open up their schedule to make available on this show every week. So you're talking about the survey, Ed, and it seems like a small number, certainly way less than 50%, have discussed their finances in retirement with their parents.
It's interesting. You know, Wells Fargo did this survey, and I was shocked when I read this, that only 38% of Americans that are taking care of their elderly parents, or they have elderly parents from the World War II generation, basically the baby boomers taking care of their mom and dad. Mm-hmm. And they failed to have a conversation with mom and dad in reference to mom and dad's finances. They were like, oh, I think mom and dad are going to be okay. But, I really don't want to talk to them about that because, mom and dad always said we should never talk about finances. And that's true. I mean, my mom and dad said the same thing.
Yeah.
Sure. My mom and dad said, hey, you know something? A, don't ever talk to anybody about our finances and what dad does or what mom did. You know, mom was usually at home. Dad was usually working. But don't ever have those conversations and don't tell people what your father makes or whatever. And, here's the crazy thing. I don't know why everybody was saying that. Everybody knew what engineers made back then. I mean, my dad was an engineer. Mm-hmm. I went to school for an engineer. Everybody already knew what engineers make. So I don't understand why it was don't tell anybody what kind of conversation about money, because
they all knew.
Everybody all knew. And people with wealth talk about wealth. They talk about wealth with their kids. So I know it's kind of like one of those things, don't talk to strangers. Mm-hmm. When we were told, little kids, don't talk to strangers. Now that we've gotten older, we don't talk to anybody because now we're all on the world of, past COVID, and everybody's at home and they're all on the internet and they're all on their cell phones, and conversations totally been lost and forgotten. So we need to practice conversations. And here's the thing. I want to help you have those conversations with your parents, because those conversations need to happen. And so there's conversation starters that you can use having a conversation with mom and dad. And let's just tackle the first one. The first one is, well, use the direct approach.
Right.
If you have a good, I mean, hello, mom, dad, right? It's like, look, this is the conversation you have if you have a really good relationship with mom and dad, and everybody's talking about money. There's no need to beat around. I mean, there's no need to be around the bush on this one. Okay. You simply go, hey, let's sit down and have a conversation and allow us to have peace of mind. You know, Kim over here, my sister, and Judy over here, my other sister, and Becky over here, my wife, and mom, we want to sit down. Mom, dad, we want to sit down. We have a conversation with you. We want to make sure that everything's okay, that you've taken care of your wills, your powers of attorney, that you got everything in place. Who is in charge if something happens to you? Who's the executor? Do you have a trust in place? What are your wishes? Are they written down? No, here's the thing. Everybody's like, oh, well, we know what to do to take care of it. I'm sharing with you right now. This is my personal story. My mom passed without a will. Every time I tried to have a conversation about my mom and dad, saying, hey, mom, dad, look, it's time to put a will and power of attorney and everything else to place. They said, you're trying to kill me. I mean, that's a true story. Okay. I'm a baby of 4. And this is a true story. So everything about estate planning and why I'm so adamant about estate planning is simply because I've lived through this. Okay? Right. And I don't want you to have to live through this either.
You had some probate. It sounds like you and your siblings went through.
You have we had I grew up in New Hampshire, an old mountain boy, and we settle things differently in the mountains. We have probate, and then we have the backyard conversation. But I'm sharing this with you all because you need to have these conversations, and you can't put them off. Another thing is you want to make sure don't make money an important issue. In other words, don't make talking about money taboo. So mom and dad may go, oh, we never talk about money. Well, start dropping hints from time to time with mom and dad and go, mom, dad, it's okay to talk about money. Mom and dad, it's okay to talk about what you give. Do an example like this. Hey, mom, dad, have you given much thought about what it's going to be like in your golden years? And you get them to thinking, and you go, how about you share with me, what do you really want to do when you get to those ages? And you'll be shocked and amazed that kind of conversation that you'll have. Okay. Because then you're asking them for them to share their golden dreams, their vision, or even start out with the idea of, hey, can you share with me how it was in your days? How'd you talk to your mom and dad about money when they got older? And that'll get them to start thinking about this. And again, these are things that we talk about within our gap analysis, because here's the crazy thing. When you come in, you start talking to us, we don't know you either. And we ask questions just like this in order to get the conversation going and starting, because as we go from the financial red zone into the touchdown area and in the field goal where we're actually now in retirement, that's the time of glory. But if you don't have a vision, you won't get there. So our gap analysis can help you get there too. And then you can take that gap analysis that we had and you can have that conversation with mom and dad. But we can only help you if you pick up the telephone and call. So if you have $500,000 or more and you've put that away for retirement, your IRAs, your 401ks, and you want help and you want to cut your taxes, you want to cut your hidden fees and commissions, you want to cut those nonsense out of those stupid insurance policies that people pay way too much money for, and you want to make sure that you have your estate planning correct, give us a call. That's our gap analysis. We'll walk you through it.
800-563-7030, 800-563-7030 to call or text. If you text, it's the same number, 800-563-7030. Just text hashtag WTA, talking to your parents. And it could be Gen Xers talking to older boomers, or it could, as you said, boomers talking to the World War II generation. But one great way to get someone to open up is to ask them for their help. What about the approach of asking them for advice?
Exactly. Look, the World War II generation and the baby boomer generation is the generation of givers. Okay. They love to give. They do. They're very, very generous with their advice.
Right. Yeah.
They are.
You said somewhat tongue in cheek, but yeah.
Yeah, I know. I'm kind of goofing out there. They'll tell you where to go.
Right.
No, I'm just messing. I'm having a good day today. But seriously, ask advice. And especially if you're the child of an elderly parent, your parents always want to help you. They always want to look out for you. So go at it as if you're having a conversation with mom and dad saying, hey, mom, dad, I just sat down with this wonderful coaching team called the Wealth Training Academy. And I'd like your advice on some of the things that they recommended. What do you think about this? Tell me about this. If you were me, would you do this? How about you? What are you doing with your stuff? Give me an example of how you set your retirement up. Are you feeling lucky, or do you feel good about what you've done? Maybe it's a conversation of long-term care insurance. Hey, mom, dad, we were thinking about getting some long-term care insurance. Do you have that type of program? And if so, what kind of program is it? Or maybe they have a large house and they're having trouble taking care of the large house now, and it's time to downsize. And you go, mom and dad, we were thinking about selling our house. Even if you're not, mom and dad, we're thinking about selling our house and maybe potentially downsizing. Can you tell me the advantages or disadvantages of doing that? And why are you still in your big house? Share with me why you're still here doing this, and have them give you that advice. Set it up in a story also is another conversation. And the idea that, hey, I sat down with a friend of mine today at lunch, and they were telling me about, they went through financial planning, and they sat down with the Wealth Training Academy. And the Wealth Training Academy took them through their gap analysis, and they showed them how to cut their taxes, and they showed them how to cut their fees, and they showed them they really didn't need all these large, giant insurance policies. And they set up wills and power of attorneys, and they set up a special trust, and then they set up a charitable remainder trust for folks. And it was a really great idea. Have you ever experienced something like this before? And ask them those kind of questions. Set it up as a story saying, a coworker unfortunately just passed away this week, and they were telling, we were talking to the family and everything else like that, and they said they didn't put anything away for retirement, and they didn't have a life insurance policy, and they didn't have wills and powers of attorney. Can you believe that happened? You guys don't have something like that going on, do you, mom and dad? These are questions that you could be asking. Okay, so these are opportunities. So set it as in, give me some advice, and then paraphrase it back into a story. And I'm telling you, mom and dad will actually live that, because another experience or another way to take this into a conversation is, hey, mom and dad, can you share with me a life event or a situation that you've been in? Hey, mom and dad, remember Aunt Jane? And Aunt Jane, she passed away a few years ago. And then cousin Ted over there, he had nothing. Can you explain to me how that happened? And let them explain to you the life event. Or maybe there's been a death in the family. Uncle Bob passed and left Aunt Mary over here with no life insurance. Isn't that crazy? What kind of things have you set up for you guys to take care of that? And again, these are all great conversations. But what you want to always do at all times is lighten it, make it easy. Okay. Say, hey, mom, dad, I'm here to help if you ever need anything. Lighten their load. Technology can be crazy today. How about if I share with you some of the things that are going on in financial management that you may not know? But always be calm, always be respectful, and always do it and come from a place of love and passion, just like we do over here. Everything that we do is about the idea of love and passion and creating value. We want to create value. We want to save over $30 million in hidden taxes and fees over the next 10 years. The only way we can do that is by helping you cut taxes and hidden fees and commissions. Hence the reason why we do our gap analysis. So give us a call. If you have $500,000 or more put away for retirement in your 401ks and so forth, we'll help you out with your taxes. But be one of the 10 callers. Give us a call now.
It's 800-563-7030. The gap analysis, quite comprehensive and about you. Call or text to schedule 800-563-7030. If you text, just text hashtag WTA 800-563-7030. Man, what a quick moving show, Ed. We've come to the final segment.
I know it's been a busy week, and we've got a lot of listeners asking a lot of questions. We're going to tackle as many of them as we can after we have this short little break when we come back.
You drive through this to get to this, and you really want to be here. And there's someone who can get you to your destination, retirement where you want to be, instead of here or here. And that someone is Ed Storr at the Wealth Training Academy. 800-563-7030. 800-563-7030. The Wealth Training Academy, and back at it with wealth coach Ed Storr. What is this firm of the same name? Well, they work with people in the area, those nearing retirement, setting them up with their retirement, proper planning, looking at their retirement like a business. And the firm also offers coaching for businesses in the area, right here in the upstate and beyond. And they can help you too and answer your questions. I want to invite you to visit the website. It's wealthtrainingacademy.com. Now, any tab that you click will allow you to submit a question to Ed to be answered on the air, or you can schedule the gap analysis. And also be sure to check out the podcast. That's former radio shows with a podcast available at wealthtrainingacademy.com or wherever you download your podcast. It's all over the place. And speaking of that, we have questions from podcast listeners we're devoting this segment to. So let's start with one from Charleston, South Carolina. I'm 65. I've been working with my advisor for 30 years. He's 79, and he's been great in guiding me to retirement. But now it's getting close. I'm last 90 days of work here. I don't know if he plans to retire at some point, but what would I do if this happened, and how do I ask that without being a jerk?
Wow.
Yeah.
First off, that is an amazing question. Second of all, he's an advisor, and he's 79 years old. Mm-hmm. Okay, I gotta give my props to him. I obviously don't know him. I don't know many 79-year-old advisors, to be quite honest. Mm-hmm. Nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. Now, here's the interesting thing. How do you ask that question without being a jerk? You're not, first off, in any way, shape, or form asking a question about your money and being a jerk about it, okay? It is your money, first and foremost. So anytime you have a question about your money, you should be able to ask and get a straight answer, first off, okay? So let's throw that scenario out. The second part of the scenario is, how do you ask him if he's going to retire? My gosh, the gentleman or the lady is 79 years old. They're about to retire. I got news for you. They're going to retire. Mm-hmm. I'll give you an example here. Okay, I'm 54 years old, but I've put together a team behind me. So there is 2 layers behind me. So if something happened to me, our clients are well taken care of, because it's just not me. There's a team of other investment professionals. There's a team of other tax professionals. There's a team of insurance professionals. There's a team of estate planning attorneys and professionals behind me. So there's multiple layers of team, and each team is specializing in a certain area. And we've created a system that is followed by the team. So if that one team passes away, or if that one team member retires, or that one team member goes off for the next 30 to 90 days on vacation, or is out for family issues, or whatever, the system is running things, and we're able to plug that person, the next person, into the system that follows every aspect of what you're doing. So I would not, in today's world, rely on one person. I would rely on the system taking care of everything, and you will know exactly where everything is, all your taxes, your investments, your insurance, and your estate planning. Every aspect of your wealth is tracked and looked at in a system, so it doesn't matter then who the person is that's running the system. Now, you obviously want the person running the system who knows about you, and that person who has experienced with you, or have experience with you, or knows a lot about you, because that's the way it works. And that's why you have a multi-layered team in place. It's kind of like hanging out with the old family doctor. Okay. The old family doctor in the old family town that knew that Buddy over there, the reason why Buddy has acid on his stomach is because he's chawing on tobacco and he's not supposed to be chawing on tobacco, right? I mean, come on. That's why his stomach's upset. We know to give him a little bit of sarsaparilla and he'll be fine. But the new doctor comes in, he wants to run all these tests and everything else like that. But eventually the old town doctor passes or he retires. And in your case, this is the old town doctor that's going to be retiring or is going to be passing somewhere along the line. I suggest you step up and go find a new team. Because even though you've loved this person, they've been there, they've helped you through it, you've just outgrown them now, okay? And there's nothing wrong with that. That happens all the time. People outgrow people. And it happens. It just happens. That's why it's always better to have a system and not people in place. So give us a call. We'll help you out with this.
Absolutely.
This is exactly what we can do.
Exactly what they do. 800-563-7030, 800-563-7030. From a podcast listener in Concord, North Carolina, I signed up for a 20-year term life insurance policy about 10 years ago because it was just so much cheaper than a whole life policy. But now I'm being told that my premiums are about to more than double next year when I turn 64. Is this normal?
No, that's not normal. Simply because you signed up for a 20-year term insurance policy that still has 10 years to go on it. That is not normal at all. With this person, I would highly suggest you give us a call. First off, here's the thing. With any type of insurance, whether it's medical insurance, life insurance, or whatever, long-term care insurance, that should be evaluated every 2 to 3 years. And if somebody's not looking at that and evaluating that for you every 2 to 3 years, then you've probably got an old policy. And in this case, it sounds like there's something terribly wrong. If you would, this is the type of person I would highly suggest you give us a call, and we'll do an evaluation on your insurance, especially if you have these annuity policies or something like that. There's all kinds of hidden fees and commissions built up inside these things that we'll evaluate them, tell you really what's going on. We will give you a fiduciary evaluation. That means we're working for you and we're doing that. And that's the part of the gap analysis that I'm talking about. So in this case, this person, there's something wrong with your insurance policy. Give us a call and let's set up a time. We can do a Zoom call. We can do a Teams meeting call. And you can stay where you're at and we can stay where we're at and we can do a video call or a phone call and we can knock all this stuff out for you and help you out.
Yeah, they can definitely, whatever's best for you that way. 800-563-7030 from a podcast listener in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. My husband died about 6 months ago and left me with a significant amount of life insurance. Now, it's much more money than we ever had during our 30-year marriage. And while I'm grateful for it, it's also overwhelming. What is the best first step for me to take in deciding how to handle it?
The interesting thing is, first and foremost, I am sorry for your loss. It's never nice, or it's not nice to hear about somebody losing their loved one. And it sounded like you had a great marriage of 30 years. That's just absolutely amazing. So congratulations. I know obviously they're in a better place. So congratulations on the idea that you guys were smart enough to even plan for something like this, because the idea that they placed, or that you all put this life insurance in place to take care of things like this, is great. The thing I would highly suggest is take your time. Okay. If somebody has passed away, you still need to take time to mourn. I wouldn't do anything right now. The best thing for you to do is not to do anything. And what I mean by that is you don't have to make financial decisions now. If anything, pay off the debts that you have going on. I don't know what the amount is, but pay off the debts. The next thing that I would highly suggest to you is, because you're receiving this lump sum of money that you've never had before, or you're saying the words of overwhelming, that it can be overwhelming, and it probably is. Find a fiduciary such as ourselves, okay? Each member of my team is an independent fiduciary. In other words, they're designed to work for you and not sell products, okay? That's our job. We work for you. So you want to, first off, find a fiduciary. Second of all, you need to look at your estate planning again, okay? But you don't have to make decisions right now, but you still need to look at those estate planning. So you need an estate planning attorney. The other thing is you're going to have to deal with some tax scenarios coming up because, well, you were both married and now you get ready to file your tax return. You have to file a joint tax return, and then next year you have to file a widow tax return, and then the following year you get to file a single. So your whole tax world is going to be changing. So you're going to need to work with a CPA or an enrolled agent with the IRS to make sure your tax scenarios situation is corrected. Also, your insurance is now changing, okay? Your whole world of insurance has now changed. Your medical insurance has changed. Obviously, your life insurance is going to change. Maybe you have long-term care insurance. I don't know. But that has all changed too. And definitely your investment world has changed. So if you don't have a team that's working together that will help you, that know how to communicate together, then you're going to be in trouble. This is a perfect example of somebody that we are built for. We have the team that can handle every aspect because everything that you just mentioned, every part of what's your changing world is going to be overwhelming. And you need to make sure the team is working together to help you make decisions. Now, don't rush into anything and make sure you interview people that you're comfortable with. Okay. You want them to be there. Just like we talked about the gentleman who has their financial advisor has been around forever. Okay. You want to make sure you have a team that has a system in place that you can see everything that's going on. And you need to make sure that your family members are involved in this too. So if you have kids, make sure they're involved in helping you. If you don't have kids, make sure you have a loved one who has your best interest, a best friend or something that'll be there. Okay. And definitely give us a call because this is something that we can help you out with.
And that number to call to schedule, 800-563-7030, because Ed, it's the gap analysis. Analysis, very thorough.
This is a perfect example of a gap analysis. Taxes, investments, insurance, estate planning, but you got to take your time on this.
So it's a call or a text really to schedule 800-563-7030, 800-563-7030. If you text, just text hashtag WTA. It's likely that would be the best call or text you'll make today because getting on the road. And, as we talked about earlier, we're winding up the year. What a great start to 2023 to get a plan together, Ed. It's a great start to it.
It is. The gap analysis can make such a huge difference. And again, we're trying to save $30 million over the next 10 years in hidden fees and commissions. And the only way we can do it is by you giving a telephone call to us, the Wealth Trading Academy. As we always say, we're here to shield, protect, grow your business and your wealth. Until next week.
The Wealth Training Academy, LLC is a marketing and training facility designed to help business owners as well as pre- and post-retirees regain control of their business and personal wealth. Wealth Training Academy also rents the facility out to other organizations and the utilization of its materials. Wealth Training Academy's tax division utilizes the Tax Advisory Group, LLC, which is an independent tax reduction planning and preparation firm. Wealth Training Academy's investment division utilizes Idle Hill Advisors, LLC, which is an SEC-registered investment advisor firm. Certain appropriately licensed individuals are registered to offer investments through Idle Hill Advisors, LLC. They are not affiliated with any entities listed herein. They also do not offer tax, legal, or insurance advice. Past performance is no indication of future results. All investment carries an inherent risk and may not be suitable for everyone. Wealth Training Academy's insurance division utilizes Insurance Made Easy, LLC, which is an independent insurance firm. Certain individuals are licensed to offer insurance through Insurance Made Easy, LLC. Wealth Training Academy's estate planning division utilizes Essential Estate Planning. With our attorney groups, they can help assist with various legal matters. Wealth Training Academy's business division utilizes Maximizing Value, LLC, which is an independent coaching and consulting firm. The opinions expressed in this commentary are those of the author and may not necessarily reflect those held by Wealth Training Academy or any of its divisions. This is for general information only and is not intended to provide specific tax, investment, insurance, or legal advice or recommendation for any business or individual. It is suggested that you consult your financial professional, attorney, or tax advisor with regard to your individual situation. Comments concerning past performance are not intended to be forward-looking and should not be viewed as an indication of future results.